Deus Israel, coniugat vos, et ipse sir vobiscum, qui misertus est tuobus unicis, et nunc Domine faceos plenius benedicerete. Beati omnes qui timent Dominum, qui ambulanti in vis eius. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio, et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Deus Israel, coniugat vos, et ipse sir vobiscum, qui misertus est tuobus unicis, et nunc Domine faceos plenius benedicerete.
What is up, everybody? My name is Alex, and welcome to The Broth, the most fun, serious show on the internet. We're here live in the cauldron. Today we're going to talk about marriage, the Sacrament of Marriage. I had an interesting experience today. Found myself responded to and mocked by by a account with like 4.5 million followers, Tristan Tate. You know, I like to give him a little bit of pushback as a Christian. The guy says he's Christian, and so I'm like, brother in Christ, you know, and he says some things that I think are great and need to be said, but then I don't know, I'm confused. I thought the like polygamy stuff, whatever you call it, baby mama stuff, you know, the hoe stuff. I thought that was like the Andrew Tate stuff because he's a Muslim and that's tolerated over there. As Christians, we don't tolerate that. Um, I'm a Catholic. Marriage is a sacrament. It's one of the 7 holy sacraments gifted to us by God. And, you know, if you're just a Christian, you're still getting married under God. It's still in Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. Genesis 2, second chapter of the Bible, you know. Therefore a man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh. But how many women can you make one flesh for you there, Tristan? I don't know. So it was interesting, and you know, you never know what's going to happen when somebody engages with you. When they have someone with that many followers engages with you, you're like, you know, hey, is it RAP my inbox? Gonna, you know. So far, nothing much has happened, but yeah, take a look at that, and let's take a look at, we'll talk a little bit about marriage. I am a happily married man. And to one woman. I know, it's crazy. Very old fashioned. And it's a good life, man. It's a good life. And, I think the Matrix wants you to collect women and like cars. The Matrix wants you to pursue this, and then also have a collection like this of women folk, and baby mama collection. That's not what we're about as Christians. Now, I'm a pretty mediocre Christian, I'll tell you that. And I'm not saying I'm by any means a more virtuous man than Tristan. I don't know him. I've heard that he's a very generous person. And I'm religiously opposed to what he's promoting. And it's his business. He can say what he wants. But I'll show you what he said and what I said. Our little interaction. Should be fun. So yeah, it was. I responded to this. I read this yesterday, and let's see here. Let me get this all centered up. So yeah, here he is, Tristan Tate. If you don't know him, you're living under a rock, I guess. But there's nothing wrong with that. Him and his brother are famous, the Tates, controversial figures. He's a kickboxer, father, businessman, comedy genius. I don't know about that one. Brother of Cobra Tate. That's one of the other Tate brothers. Luke 23:34. I didn't notice this before. I wonder what it is. So I'm not judging the guy, but I have a religion and I will defend my religion. Father, forgive them. Let's see. Just give me the verse. Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. Where's the they know not what they do? Come on, that's obviously the New International is a little bit. Where's my Dewey? Come on now, here we go. And Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But they, dividing his garments, cast lots. It's a good one. That is a good one. The one where he says, go forth and sin no more. Christ's, so I do see Christians being very judgmental of the Tates and, in general. And, I'm here to spread and defend God's word here, not to cast judgment. And, good for him for having a Bible verse here. So then this is what he says, though. He says, Lily Phillips, I hate to even bring her up. This is a whore. And she's famous for having, I don't even want to say this, for sleeping with 1,000 men in one night, which is disturbing and horrible. This is like demonic possession level stuff. And, just a sign of the times, man. And so here I'm not playing this video. She held an event and 50 men turned up. Mind blown. Yeah, how about the puke emoji? And Tristan says, these are the exact men who criticize rich men for having multiple loyal women raising their kids. The masks, the men have masks on, presumably because they're ashamed, which they should be. The masks are because they're anons on X. I proudly own my actions and put my name and face to them. They criticize, but would do anything for a chance at sex, evidently. What do these coomers in these masks have to do with the people who are criticizing rich men for having multiple women raising their kids? This is the last place you'd ever catch me on earth. And I'm a sinner. Wasn't always. I didn't always understand. Before I had Christ, I had no freaking idea, and was sinful when it came to sexuality, and grew up in the world with pornography and all that stuff. But since I found Christ, life has gotten a whole lot better. Marriage has gotten a million times better, and it was good to begin with. So anyway, he's saying this. This is just bizarre to me. Here he is. He says he's a Christian. He's quoting the Bible, but he's saying that anyone who criticizes him, I guess maybe he's defending his brother, which there's something respectable about that. I do like how they're, everybody loves a bond of brothers who love each other. Like have you ever see that movie Boondock Saints? Like it'll make you tear up. It's like a stupid movie in a lot of ways, but these brothers love each other so much they kill and die for each other. You gotta love that. So maybe he's defending his brother. I'm trying to be as charitable as I can here, but he's defending polygamy or some sort of ghetto lifestyle, and he's saying these guys in the masses show up to do this degenerate thing are the same people. So I'm like, no. I said, loyal married Christian men exist, right? Like maybe it's us that's criticizing that. And so I said that yesterday. No, I said that today. And he responded like right away. I forgot that I said that this morning. I was like getting ready for work. I posted that. I got to work. Saw a notification on my phone, and I was like, what? Is this my face? Tristan Tate's posting my face here? And he goes, I'm sure they do. And then this is a demonstration of the type of weak man, I guess, with no options. Right? So, okay, so the only loyal married Christian men that exist are ugly people like me, I guess, who don't have the option. That if I was a wealthy, good-looking man like him, I'd have a whole collection. I'd have a 20-car garage and a 20 baby mama garage. Like, what, dude? Are you serious right now, dude? Are this guy serious? Any guy that's been to a brothel is in that queue. The only difference is privacy. Tristan agreed. So I don't know, man. So I woke up to this. I saw this at work. Got off work, or took a little break, and I made my response. And it was pretty exciting because, like I said, somebody with 4.5 million followers on X, for all I know, nothing will happen. I got 100 views. That ain't nothing. But you don't know what's going to happen when it's like that. So I recorded my response, and I'll play that for you now. I'd like to start by thanking God for this opportunity to defend the Sacrament of Marriage here. Tristan, if you want to use me as the poster boy for Christian married man, I'm here for it. I'm here to defend the faith. That's what I'm doing here. Marriage is a sacrament. I'm a Catholic, and it's a holy thing. If you want to push the idea that those of us who are taking part in that sacrament are just doing so because we don't have options, that's on you, brother. But as long as you're claiming to be a Christian, you're definitely going to get pushback from us. And maybe I'm not the best looking guy ever, but my wife and my mother says I'm handsome. Okay, so that's enough for me. And I never was too into getting all dolled up stuff anyway. So, if anybody's interested in learning about why a marriage between one man and one woman is God's way, the Christian way, I got a YouTube channel, and I'm going to be talking about this live this evening, 4:30 Pacific time.
And I'd be honored if you joined me. So peace out, everybody.
Yeah, so that was my response. I mean, all right, like I kind of, look a little dorky here, but I'm being expressive, all right? It comes from my profile picture. It looks like this. I'm being expressive. I have a little show here, and I like to be funny on it. Okay, I make facial expressions. I'm not like just trying to mog everybody all the time, but I'm not I'm not insecure about my looks. I think I'm a pretty good-looking guy. I didn't do that. God bless me. Maybe Tristan's maybe he's a lot better looking than me. I don't know. I'm not like a metrosexual, so I'm just kind of working with what I got here. So anyway, I did that, and then I put my little promo that my Omi Friendly clips, Punish Friendly, made for me, and so yeah, let's see what happens. So anyway, it was a fun start for the day, and I am grateful to God to that he snatched my head from being all crooked as it was a few years ago. He screwed it back on straight for me. So yeah, it's a Catholic marriage, the sacrament of marriage. Who doesn't want this? This is beautiful. This is wholesome. This is what God tells us to do. So yeah, from chapter 2 all the way to like Corinthians, probably further down than that, marriage is all through it. God created marriage right at the beginning with one man and one woman. Corinthians 7:10 through 11 says, "To the married I give charge, not I, but the Lord, that the wife should not separate from her husband, and that the husband should not divorce his wife." That's what I believe, and that is a challenge. That takes some, some warrior spirit. That takes discipline. That takes courage. It takes commitment. And I think one of the most important things, what I would want to impress on, any young men who are inspired by the Tates, they do say some things that are inspiring. Like the world is in a bad way these days. It's always been fallen, but we're in a pretty demonic time period, and that those guys showing young men to like be men in the sense of be assertive, be leaders, work hard, be competitive, make a good living, all that stuff. That's all beautiful stuff. What I would want to express to young men who are inspired by that stuff and maybe not so sure that that multiple baby mamas is the path for them. Let me say this. The wrong woman creates a lot of stress in your life. And so, it's nice. It feels nice to feel desired by women. But when you get right with God, that need goes away. It's like, what do I care? And it's part of like, I'm not making a ton of effort in that profile picture to like, I'm not trying to be hot, because I don't need that sort of approval in any sort of way. And but the thing I was gonna say is like, you want the right woman, and the right woman, the best women are virtuous women. It's a quality that people don't talk about in women enough. You want to be attracted to your wife. You want to be, it feels good going out with my wife, and she's very attractive, and people can see that, stuff like that. That's nice, but you really want a virtuous woman, and the virtuous women want this. They want Christian marriage. They don't want to be, that's just what it is. And so a virtuous woman is going to be devoted to you. You can trust her. It's freaking, little thing like trust in the relationship. There's no manipulation. And, you can, I'm not saying that they don't have that. Maybe in some of them, maybe they have that in all of them. But, I mean, like, if, when you're, first of all, God is commanding us to do it. That should be enough. You know what I mean? That should be enough, especially if you call yourself a Christian. But, like, where does the authority come from of a man in his house? This whole Christ cuck thing is, listen, there's plenty of weak men anywhere. But I have authority in my home because God set it up the way that he did, and I'm living by that. That's what gives me authority in my home. And then, in order for that authority to be respected fully, then I have to be a man, right? I have to step up and be a man. But what I don't have to do is like justify the idea of me having authority in my house. So I don't have to, say who provides, but I have the money. Or I got 9 other of you, so it's get in your place or whatever. That just seems, having to use my own kind of force or coercion or anything like that, it doesn't seem very appealing. And ultimately, what I'm getting from this, like, the idea that the only men that are in real and Christian marriages are like, they just couldn't do better than that. That's a really grim way to look at the world. Because marriage is one of the most wholesome places, wholesome things in the world, and you can get a lot of joy out of it, and a lot of people do. So, like, what isn't he seeing? Like I want my brother in Christ to be able to see that this is something that God created for us and it's a blessing. And he could have that. It's not too late for the brother. I'll tell a story that for me exemplifies like me finding the right woman and what that sort of loyal monogamous marriage, the fruits that it can bear. Because it's hard to imagine coming by this any other way. So I've been with my wife for 15 years, and about 10 years ago, I went to a coding boot camp. It was like a software engineering accelerated program, and it was like 16 hours a day for a few months, and it was hard. It was challenging. And I love to challenge myself, and I was changing careers, and I felt I had a moment maybe 3 weeks in where I was down. I felt my confidence was was falling away from me, and I knew I wasn't gonna give up, but I felt like giving up in that moment. And I texted my wife, and I texted her, F this, you want to run away and join the circus with me, and I was just messing around. I was like, screw everything, let's just run away and join the circus. And I got out of there at like midnight, and I got home at like 2 a.m. And I get there, and my wife is falling asleep on the bed on top of the covers, and she's dressed up like a clown. She's got like this funny, colorful skirt on, and like she put red circles on her cheeks, and she tried to stay up for me, but she fell asleep, and it was just the sweetest thing that's ever happened to me. Like, The message was obvious. It was like, I'll go anywhere with you, babe. She didn't need me to become a software engineer and make a bunch of money, you know. And we didn't have any money when she met me. I was a broke college student. I know she's not here for any reason but me. And she doesn't believe in divorce, and neither do I. And I'm joining the Catholic Church, and we're gonna renew our vows in the Catholic Church, which doesn't believe in divorce. And I'm seeking that. I'm doing that, putting myself in that position on purpose, because I don't believe in this is a lifelong commitment. And that is some man stuff right there. That's true strength in a commitment like that. Same as you make a commitment to anything. If you want to be a really good fighter or something like that, it takes commitment. You can't decide 3 months in, I want to try to do bowling for a while, and then come back to it. You're not going to get good at it. And the best things in life you got to work for. There's a quote from Pope Francis. I really like this. He said, this really shows to me some wisdom from him, because he's not been married. He said, marriage is an inevitable mixture of enjoyment and struggles, tensions and repose, pain and relief, satisfactions and longings, annoyances and pleasures, but always on the path of friendship, which inspires married couples to care for one another. They help and serve each other. That's what it is. That's what it is. And it can mean more to you than you could imagine. And that other stuff is very real too. There are going to be annoyances and struggles and pain and longings. And it's not always great. Sometimes it's tough, just like anything. And it's a beautiful thing. And, like I said, I think the matrix, as they call it, the world, as we call it, in Christianity, we divide between the world. We distinguish. There's creation, what God made, and there's the world that Satan has dominion over. The world of material things, material pleasures, And it's not that it's bad. It's not, having this isn't necessarily bad, but having your life governed by this, giving more of your life to this than you give it to God. And it's a struggle for all of us. And there's quotes in the Bible about a rich man, right? More of a chance of a camel going through the eye of the needle than a rich man going to heaven. Now, I learned something interesting about that, because it's like, so it's impossible, or it would take a miracle is where I came to. But I learned something interesting. In the old days, they'd have, in the town gates, there'd be a big door, big heavy 2 doors, it'd take a couple people to open. And then there'd be a small door that just one person could walk through. And that was called the eye of the needle. And so they said a camel could do it, but you'd have to take the load off the camel. Camel couldn't be carrying anything, no material objects, and it would have to get on its knees. And I think that's a powerful image. So, yeah, yes, there is truth to the more sort of access you have to things that you're not supposed to do, be it, women or material objects and stuff. The more access you have, the more difficult it is, the more you're sinful. So that's why I'm not claiming to be a better Christian than Tristan. But I'm just saying you can't embrace the sin. It's totally okay to struggle and to falter. Yeah, I think, this is, I'm far from the first person to say this, but tradition, this and it's kind of a trope, but who's the family, the farm, the hog father, What the heck is this? Ballerina Farm. Like, this is the rebellion. This is what the Matrix hates more than anything. This is one man, one woman, a whole bunch of kids. You know? Why do you need more? Why do you need more women? I don't get it. I don't get it. Check out this. Check this out that my buddy made for me. So yeah, this. I like cars. I got a nice car. It's not this kind of nice, but it's new. It looks awesome. But I don't know. What's it all for? Who are we trying to impress? I don't know. Is it all for? I mean, a lot of people live their lives, and I don't know what motivates any of these guys. A lot of people live their lives to impress other people or like an imaginary person. And a lot of people live their lives just for them, legacy and all that stuff. But like, there's only really one way to make an impact, and we all make an impact, and it's either positive or negative, because we're all temporary, we're all finite. To dust we shall return, no matter what you do, no matter how many kids you have, they're all going to dust eventually. But God is infinite, and if you can please God even a little bit, that what you did echoes in eternity. That lasts forever. So there's something comforting in that you're doing the best you can, and having a partner along the way, a wife, not a partner in a gay way. If anything, what he's talking about is more gay, because like, listen, where's the quote I grabbed? We Christians marry only to produce children, and we marry one wife as God commanded in the beginning when he made them male and female. Like, this is the gospel according to Jesus, right? I don't know what gospel you're looking at that justifies all this other stuff, I'm not looking at the gospel of Lil Nas X. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Let's do a couple more quotes. Marriage has, like, let me emphasize what a big deal this is. Marriage has God for its author, and was from the very beginning a kind of foreshadowing of the incarnation of his Son. That's Pope Leo the 13th. St. Thomas Aquinas, the smartest guy that ever lived, said matrimony is instituted both as an office of nature and as a sacrament of the church. So even if you're not a Christian, the office of nature, that's talking about natural law. That's talking about looking at God's creation and seeing that there are laws that order things, and understanding that there is a virtue, there's an inherent good in following the laws of nature. St. Catherine of Siena said, in marriage, the bond of love must be so strong that it mirrors the eternal union of the soul with God. This is some serious stuff, and we were designed to and instructed to do that with one woman. And I don't know that you could do that otherwise. It's challenging to do just with one. And yeah, like the institution, the legal institution of marriage is kind of a disaster right now. It works out badly for a lot of men. And, I'm of the opinion that this institution has no business outside the church. It should be, people talk about gay marriage, or whether or not that should be, and then they say, no, like, let them have civil unions because it's just like a tax break, and that doesn't conflict with the Bible. I think everything should be a civil union unless it's the sacrament in the church, because that's what it is. That's literally what it is. The West was built on that. That's the basic building block. John Paul II said, in the sacrament of marriage, man and woman are called to cooperate with the Creator in the transmission of life and to reflect the covenant of love between Christ and the church. One God, one church, love for each other. St. Gregory Nazianzen, it's a cool name, said the love between a husband and a wife is a shadow of the divine love which binds all things together in unity. You know, it doesn't get more serious than this. And I can, you know, I'm a sinner and I'm not perfect by any means. Like I said, I'm a pretty mediocre Christian, but we're going to push back if someone, especially who claims to be a Christian, is, you know, what? You're calling us anonymous degenerates who would sleep with that level of spiritually decrepit woman after 999 other guys did that? How? I don't know. Maybe he'll, like, he wasn't getting that much love on when his post on me. We can look at the other, how people responded, because I don't know, you know, maybe he was having an off day, you know, maybe he has to just reflect on this a little bit. I'm not condemning the guy, not at all. I've seen him stand up for some real truth, some goodness, when, you know, it was not going to help him to do it. So, you know, I'm not one of these people. It's like, I believe in forgiveness, and I believe in, you know, not casting stones. Michael Bonesky, hey, maybe he stuck up for me because we're both bones. He said, there's others like me who choose to be with one. I got good with the ladies because of y'all, but if I'm going to follow God, I only need one. Amen, brother. That's exactly it. Nico says, only loyal because there's a missing ability to get any other bitches. Okay, sure, bud. This guy, he I feel like kind of nailed it. Tractor Guy said, encourages owning actions and using a real photo, not being an anon. Commenter has a real pic, not anon. Mm-hmm. Replies with their cropped profile pic. Question marks. Oh yeah, what are we doing? I'm the guy. Like, what? I don't know. This doesn't look good to me for him. Bro looks like a hobo. Okay, all right. You know, I rock the beard. Okay. This guy said, I don't know if you're roasting or showing respect on that one. I appreciated that. I knew where he was going with it, but, like, yeah, right? Is this... Maybe he's like, I'm sure they do. Look at this handsome gentleman. He probably is a loyal husband and Christian. I don't know. You know, and it's not about me anyways, but he 100% sees porn. What? And yet you call yourself a Christian. Thank you, brother. Usually you're going to hear something awesome, a great take when you see that Vatican flag. I've noticed that. Have you guys noticed? You guys noticers? Look what having multiple, quote, loyal women did to your brother. I don't know, man. The timing on this tweet isn't great. I'm not sure what he's referring to. Let's see what the offensive comment says. It's funny because most men do this getting inspired by you, and then you use their behavior to justify your actions, the circle of life. That's all responding to, I'm sure they do. Yeah, I don't totally know what he means by that, but, like, okay. I don't know. Did anybody, I think nobody's really engaged with me, but it's all good. You know, I see this as an opportunity to do what I'm doing, defending the faith, and, you know, it is what it is, so I guess that's the show. I didn't really, there's a lot of other stuff going on. There's this. I'll talk about RFK for a minute because things are getting interesting with him. People have speculated for a while that RFK was blackmailed. Even though he's supposedly like not anti-neocon and stuff like that. And let me get this witch out of my frame here. Let's go back to me balling here. Yeah, in other words, he's kind of gets on his knees at every opportunity for Israel. Let's check out. Let me bring this up real quick. So I've supported RFK for a long time, but I've always been a little wary about this, and I had my own theory that he in his young days he was a heroin addict, and I'm an ex-addict, so I've got some sympathy for that, and I figured that if he's blackmailed, then it's probably some old school stuff, probably from that time period. And I figured maybe he was on a mission to avenge his family, but he didn't figure out that he had to do that until after he had this dark part of his life. So this is sort of my trying to give him grace, trying to understand, and I thought about what would I do, if someone had compromising material on me, and they were responsible for killing my family. And I realized after that I had messed up and I had to step up and do something. What would I do? And I figured I would play along and be their bitch, until the timing was right. And then I'd blow the lid on the whole thing and face the music, right? I would say, I would betray the people who were, had betrayed me, who were blackmailing me. And then I would say, these people have been blackmailing me and a lot of other American politicians, and this is a crime. And yes, I did this stuff that they have me doing, and it was before I found God and when I was an addict, and it's no excuse. It was a horrible thing to do, and I repent, but I'm trying to make up for it and do right by the American people, and I'm willing to face the music of that, so that I can show people how this blackmail works, and so in the meantime I could do some good things, which he does because I'm totally with him on the vaccine stuff, and he's very good on the environment. The real way of protecting the environment, protect the rivers, not make people get crappy washing machines or whatever. But it seems like I missed something. What it's looking like is that perhaps this was not old blackmail, and that this has been continuous bad behavior that has given them continuous blackmail on them, because there's this sexting scandal and all this stuff, and then there's this really shady. He moved his wife's body after she died, his previous wife. Seems like it's a lot darker of a situation than I anticipated. But I did predict when he announced his run in 2022, as far as I know, I'm the first person that predicted this. I'm sure there were others. I said he's going to, and this wasn't on anyone's radar, I said he's going to drop out at the last minute and endorse Trump, and then Trump will give him a important position in the area of like vaccine stuff. I totally saw that coming, and I knew these guys would be natural allies, because the people that killed his family, the predecessors of them, the people who came after, but these same organizations and the same deep state that killed RFK's dad were trying to get Trump put in prison for the rest of his life, and are destroying our country. So I thought, well, these guys will be natural allies, and they'll set aside whatever other BS they disagree about and whatnot. And that's exactly what happened. So, I'm going to give me a pat on the back for catching that. But I didn't see him as somebody that was still behaving in a way that's blackmailable. It's crazy. So maybe he's got a lot more darkness than I thought. And, we should pray for him. Because that's the stuff that's coming out. Candace Owens talked about it yesterday, and then Ian Carroll was talking about it. But they're figuring out, it seems like, who exactly is doing this. And Ian Carroll is saying a lot more is about to come out. And he was talking about it and saying, I'm making this video to protect the journalists, because there's journalists that might be in danger because they know this stuff and are going to expose it. If we're talking about exposing like Mossad type people or anything like that, they are in danger. And so I thought it was pretty gangster. He came up and said, listen, we shared, the material is distributed. Lots of people have it. Journalists have it. Also people who you don't know, talking to the deep state, have it. And we're all location sharing with each other. And we've all got each other's back. So in other words, if you off one of us, everybody's going to be looking. And, it's not going to go well for you. I thought it was a brave thing. I wonder still, I feel like maybe there's this kind of a, dark, conflicted thing going on with him where he is or was planning on exposing this, but he also couldn't stop. They sort of made him into a monster, or he allowed himself to be made into a monster a little bit. And I don't know. Who knows what it is? Who knows? If it's just sexting, we can certainly forgive it. But yeah, I feel for his wife, man. I do. And it's coming. This is coming at a time where they're starting to make moves in the in HHS, Health and Human Services. He's starting to do things. They're closing redundant organizations. He's cleaning it up, firing people. And that stuff needs to happen. So it's interesting. He's saying what happened is old. What's about to happen is a whole different story. So I wonder what happened. We can see if we can look into it at all. I'm not going to play this 9-minute video, but
all across the internet. And American politics is not going to be the same after. So the Bobby Kennedy blackmail story is currently breaking in many directions all across the internet. And American politics is not going to be the same after this weekend.
That's quite a statement, He's got a lot of credibility with me. It's, I don't know, maybe Bobby thought he was going to get ahead of this and it got ahead of him. 'Cause it's not looking too good, It would be one thing if he came out and owned it before this, but having to react.
That's not hyperbole. This is not just a
pretty
hook.
Bad.
And I don't really know where to start. But this is the kind of story that I've gotten enough calls from enough people tonight, and there's enough going on that I feel like we need to make a video right now to keep some people safe and to get as much as we all know out on the internet right now so that everyone can be safe. And
all right, so he said something else because people were like, what the hell? He's our guy to fix the vaccine stuff. It's like, well, he could be that, but like there's also what is true. What's going on, we're reporting on the truth. Ian says here, Daily Wire reportedly hires bankruptcy attorney, lays off 25% of staff. They're going down. Ian says, my only goal is to decouple RFK Jr. from his blackmailers, to save Maha and the health freedom movement from the blackmailers, to save America from the blackmailers. The first being their means, the second two, the ends. I do not have the tapes. I haven't seen them. But there's only one way to save a man from blackmail, and it isn't pretty. That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. This has to be, we got to tackle this one. And the thing is, it's like indicative of a lot of other stuff. He's far, the amount of people who aren't blackmailed is a lot smaller, I think, than the ones who are. Let's see what Alex Jones said. I don't know.
King Saturday morning.
We could watch 8 minutes. So I'll watch this, and then we'll take a look at what else Ian said since then, see if there's anything new, and then I'll call it a day. And yeah.
I'm out here hiking Saturday morning. Met with my buddy Sean, and we were both already on X watching Candace Owens and Ian Carroll. Literally watching the same video of him talk about Candace, and we just hiked for an hour or so, and we're listening to her. And so I'm just going to respond to this. I think Candace Owens is a great person, super smart, super funny, super witty. So is Ian Carroll. And I think all the investigations they do and the things that they research are really helpful to society. And they're coming from what they do from a place of really trying to make the world a better place. And we really should have open debate about everything. That said, this whole RFK Jr. thing with, there's these women and people at events and he's with women. And if this is going on, there's this writer over here that, attacked Candace Owens and, Rabbi Shmuley, who is a demon. And I don't like the fact that Kennedy sits there and says nice things about him. It's ridiculous. So you do have to ask what's going on there. But Kennedy's always supported Israel. And me personally, I don't like the whole Palestinian thing and Iran and Hezbollah, and I also don't like the stuff Israel's doing. Israel clearly stood down on October 7th. You know me, I don't think that's the biggest problem in the world. I spent some of my time on it, but millions dead in Ukraine, Europe, the UK and France openly sending troops now to fight Russia, and Putin saying it'll be a bloodbath, we're ready for total war. That's getting about 1% of the coverage of just this total Israel obsession. So from my perspective, I'm just so sick of being on air 30 years and people always being obsessed with Israel, the Christian Zionists that just worship it and think it can do no wrong no matter who's in charge there, the other side that just thinks everything's run by Jews. I'm just freaking tired of it, okay? I get attacked by the Israel lobby, I get attacked by the Nazis. I just can't stand any of it. What I'm into is policy and real results. The fruits of the tree, as Christ said. I'm a Christian. And if you look at what RFK Jr. is doing, they killed the new COVID shot rollout. They just fired that guy at HHS that was trying to block stuff. They've already put the notice in that all the thousands of chemicals that are in foods that have this grandfather clause that they can be poisonous and deadly and addictive, and there's no testing or no rules, that's being taken out. And they're all starting to pull the garbage out.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing big things right now.
They're going after aspartame. They're going after all the GMO stuff. I mean, this is a real revolution. RFK Jr. has been doing this for decade after decade after decade and targeting real environmental crises, cleaning up toxic waste spills, stuff that actually matters. So I'm going to say this right now. Kennedys are famous for their zest. I got my own zest. And I've never been, somebody that sits there and lies and says that I haven't, enjoyed some females in my time, though I'm married and all the rest of it, and I'm a good guy. Currently, the point is that King David had his best friend killed because he was lusting after his wife, and then he repented to God over it, and God said, "You're a man of my own heart," because he really was upset about what he did and turned it around. So, if you look at RFK Jr., I don't care if his wife's okay with it, if he's been with 20 chicks, okay, in the last couple of years, okay, as long as it's consensual. I don't care. I'm not saying it's morally the best thing. I personally have not done something like that.
But
when I was younger and stuff, I was wild.
I get his point.
So, but I understand the mindset. And if you think the Kennedys, who are famous for their prowess and for their drive, but you also see in life, in other aspects, if you think that's the reason to have some big scandal, even if it's true, and to do all of this, and then let them continue with the poison shots and the GMO and all the additives and stuff, it's bullshit. So I am not saying Candace shouldn't cover this and Ian shouldn't cover it, but man, I just listened to an hour plus of this stuff. And Ian's like, well, this isn't really just girl stuff, yeah, it is. I mean, this lady attacked Candace, sneaking around, take out his husband, take a shot. All that's bullshit. That stuff happens to be my family all the time. I just ignore it. I don't even read it because it's always BS. And they're jealous of Candace because she's smart and funny and witty and just hilarious. All of it was great. It was just, so it was very entertaining. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, people ask why I don't get involved in all this stuff, and it's because I am really about policy, controlling the border, finding the hundreds of thousands of missing kids. Getting the real Epstein files out that they've now gotten and redistributed to all the FBI offices around the country. And that's confirmed from my sources directly. I really want to stop these people. I want to stop the whole system. And Trump and Elon and RFK Jr. are making the cleanest, biggest move at that right now. And it's like when everybody's about to turn on Trump when the Grandmother Pussy clip came out. It was just him joking around. And I just said, no, Trump's never said he's some big fake, super Christian. He believes in God. He loves God. He's just joking around. And I went on air to all the mainline Christians and I said, don't turn your back on Trump. He's not a hypocrite. And they got that. And Roger Stone's on record that helped turn the tide of people just saying, drop this, okay? Drop it. Trump never said he wasn't a playboy. RFK Jr., it's a freaking playboy, okay? And look at all the kids he's got. He loves kids. He loves life. Look at Elon, 15 kids. People are like, that's not very Christian.
It's not.
Folks, he wants more kids. He wants more people. The globalists want less kids.
Yeah.
So should it be in marriage? Is that better for kids overall? Yeah, but it's also better than being aborted to have people that are pro-life just in general. So get your priorities straight. Get the beam out of your eyes before you get the speck out of RFK Jr.'s. And again, that's not a message to Ian Carroll or Candace. I'm saying just everybody in general. Fine, spend 10% of your time on defending yourselves and all this speculation and all this crap about these nobody writers.
It's kind of funny how the relevance to what I've been talking about. Yeah, I get it. I'm not. That's why I'm not. None of this was about me condemning Tristan. It was defending, saying that no, we're criticizing from a place of this is our religion, and we're criticizing. We're not condemning you, calling you a filthy sinner when we know we're sinners. We're trying to countermeasure the influence on kids and young men, and preach our faith, preach the gospel. So I feel like that's he's not criticizing that. I get what he's saying. Like we got to pick our battles, and that's why I'm not trying to make an enemy out of any of these people.
And then let's spend 90% trying to stop the war in Ukraine, the next the whole world, and 5%, 10% on Gaza. But meanwhile, the UN's murdering Africans in the Congo en masse. The left is allied with the Palestinians. It doesn't mean I'm against them either. I'm just saying it's part of a dialectic to take all our time and all our energy. And that's why Israel got caught in the 50s and 60s all over Europe, Spain, and the Middle East, bombing synagogues and blaming it on outside groups to make Jews move to Israel. The more you attack Israel, the stronger it gets, because the cult that runs it manipulates and controls the white supremacists and all the groups that then come in. Not all of them. So there's a bigger dialectic here, and there's good people in Israel too. Most of them hate Netanyahu over there. So it's very sophisticated, but I think most of this stuff about RFK is bullshit. If it's all true, I don't care as long as it's not raping people or something. And of course, that's never been even alleged. The women are throwing themselves at him. Give me a break, folks.
Same care about the blackmail.
And so that's where I'm at. And I just
care
think
if
people
he's
really are focused on trying to stop nuclear war, and trying to stabilize the economy and bring jobs back and all that, because that's really what matters here. And
it's a perfect example of why it's so. Like, if you just follow the Bible, then you're not going to get in trouble like this, It's really important if you want to be a public figure and do good things for the world that you not allow someone to compromise you, which means you don't do stuff that you wouldn't want out in the open. And, doing your best to follow the Bible. Maybe that's what everybody is doing here, and I hope it is.
Again, it's just very frustrating. So now I have weighed in on the whole RFK Jr. gossip stuff to just say, I get Candace defending herself from this woman. That's clear. That's real. Coming after her, hit pieces, clean shots, making up crap. That's terrible. Never even heard of this person. Who gives a shit? And Candace is right. They're all up there in their tuxedos and their red carpets. That's their God trying to be up there. You don't see me trying to be up in D.C. or Mar-a-Lago, though I've been invited. I'm not saying it's bad, people that go in general, but those that works, but it is. You don't see me trying to be part of the system. I want my own independent ideas that I promote that other people agree with, and that we collectively work towards a type 2 civilization, a type 1 civilization, an expansion of human consciousness and will in God's plan. Follow me on next Real Alex Jones. Got a bunch of special reports coming out today. When I'm done hiking about an hour, I'm going to go work for a few hours, go back and see my family. But I love you all. Please follow me right here on next Real Alex Jones. And Sean, where do they follow you?
At Sean B. Jones.
John, you want to make a comment that we just spent a lot of time listening to this? What was
Yeah,
you saying?
well,
and were we both listening to it? We pulled up?
Yeah.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was kind of looking forward to a big hook in that. And I just heard a bunch of an hour-long rant about personal drama and personal beef that they're having with each other. I still love what RFK is doing with the Maha movement, and I think Alex is right. We need to focus on things that truly matter and things that we can affect, not personal beef between different people. But
Word. So let's see what Ian says. Ian is, I love Ian, man. He's like Mr. Reasonable. It's hard to, see how can you even really get mad at this guy, Great take, Alex. The goal is in no way to take down RFK, quite the opposite. I hope that the outcome here is that we will air out all the, quote, blackmail, whether the tapes come out or not, and show Bobby that we don't give a shit. We want an end to the vaccine industrial complex, the big food poisons, the corruption and manipulation. But we can all see that right now he's doing a half-baked job because he's got handlers deep inside his circle, and the whole of Maha has known it for months. A year and more even. And he's allowing fear and guilt and shame to rule a part of his heart. That's so well put. Not to glaze the guy. The goal is to set RFK free to do the job he was put on this earth to do. Amen. And the globalist CIA, Israeli deep state corporate complex are running a long-term, highly coordinated control campaign around him, specifically because they're scared of what happens if he's really allowed to do what he was put here to do. It is a fight for a free America, free of blackmail, free of fear and corruption and control. Free Bobby. What does punished Adolf Honkler say? The goal is to know to take RFA down. RFK belongs in such and such. He declared anti-Semitism is comparable to history's most deadly plagues. Yeah, this is why this is an issue. You know, you're trying to we or the public put our trust in you to deal with the vaccine stuff. Like, what does this mean? Where does this go? You know, because the last time we had a so-called deadly plague, people weren't allowed to go to church. Their parents and grandparents died without them being able to see them. They weren't allowed to leave their homes. So yeah, I don't want to hear nothing about comparing nothing to a deadly plague, least of all anti-Semitism. But everybody has a role to play here. Like Andrew Tate said something about that, of like that the Christians that criticize him don't see that like different people have different roles, and that he has a role in fighting the same demonic, demonic system that we're fighting, and that's true. That's why it's not about condemning RFK or condemning, the polygamy or whatever. It's it's not about condemning the people who are doing it, but it is about preaching our faith, which is don't be married and be sexting people. You'd avoid all these problems, And it's like it's not the way that Alex says this. Like it's a virility thing. Like it's a good thing. Like I get what he's trying to say, but like, and yeah, like if you're just impotent, then you don't have really anything to struggle against, and you could pretend like you're being super virtuous, but you're, an ugly dipshit with no sex drive, and it's just never going to be a problem for you, and it's not because you fought against it. But God gives each of us our battles, and He expects us to fight them and win, not be like, well, I'm horny though. yeah. So like, yeah, I don't like, I appreciate the sentiment of what Alex Jones is saying here, but, what about teaching people to live in such a way where the devil, to avoid the snares of the devil, and you avoid the snares of the devil, then you avoid the snares of the devil's blackmail operations. So, and then you don't have to say stupid shit like this. We are sick of the blackmail industrial complex. We don't care. We are forgiving Christians. This unforgiving public-facing attitude is not how people really behave. All right. Well, that's my hour for today. God bless you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. And tomorrow's Sunday, so I'll be taking the day off. I'll